I think it's very important that now parents talk to their children and come closer and understanding what they are actually browsing over their social media accounts and all that, who they are contacting, who they are meeting. Because sometimes children feel they know better than their parents. Yes, parents may not know how to use that social media account and all that, but parents have the wisdom of the trees. They will know how to guide them. What's only one thing, one element which is very important is that parents, both father and mother, should get close to their children. Then you'll get to know your children well. They'll be able to confide in you, be with social media, be with friends, be with strangers. So that kind of bonding has to be there, has to be built. What happens if there's no bonding? Then the child depends on those role models or those friends or those the people which they meet in social media for any form of advice and counsel, which is very dangerous. So that bonding between parent and child needs to be established, needs to be strengthened, so that child can confide in parent and parent can guide child.
Sir, we look at the safety and security aspect. Because of due to the recent cases in Nongrah, how has the initiatives or maybe any plans by the police department to ensure that every locality has some kind of a mechanism or maybe place CCTVs in different junctions, important junctions, and how are you working closely with the government?
See, East Khasi police has always emphasized on safety. Safety is a priority for us, and for that we need to have certain things put in place. Number one is coordination and cooperation with the local stakeholders, the Samla, the Samla, the Shillong mayors. That coordination through the community liaison group. That coordination is very important. That is already there in place. Also, the kind of infrastructure we have for safety, street lighting, the illumination around the places. If the place is dark, then criminals also are more. They feel it's more emboldened to actually commit any crime. If you have CCTVs, we've been doing that. We've been taking up this thing. Every guest house, every office establishment, every business house, every hotel, and all that should have CCTVs, at least one CCTV facing the road. That's very, very important. So we're emphasizing on all these safeguards. We're emphasizing also on patrollings, both with the VDPs and VDP and the police. We are trying to encourage more VDPs in the city. We have very few VDPs in the city because the numbers, there's a condition that you have to have 25 and above. We're bringing that number down, so we're encouraging more VDPs and to work in tandem with the police, because police, you can't police every place. So VDPs are there, they are first responders. In case there's an yellow problem also, in case there's a mob frenzy, there's a mob outburst also, the VDP is always there to not only look after the victim, but also sometimes you have to protect the accused also. Okay, because we cannot allow the crowd or the mob to take the law into their own hands. So this coordination and this working in tandem with the VDP and also with the community stakeholders like the Khubor is very, very important. Apart from that, infrastructures, a lot of assets in place. We've seen the smart city and it's really helped the police. So many cases have been covered by smart city and all that, and it has really helped. We just want now, but crime is not committed in very centrally located places. Crime is mostly committed in places which are the corner, which is dark alley and all that. So we need more CCTVs. Urge people in their residence to, at least when you put CCTVs, not only to put CCTV inside your house or in the compound, but at least place one CCTV from your gate towards the road, because the perpetrator of any crime will always come from outside. He's not from inside. Yes, it's good to have inside, but you have to have one at least outside. So now we've made it conditional for all guest houses, for hotels and all that, to have CCTV, at least one facing the road. That is very, very important. That's helped us So in many cases, it has also made it difficult, like you've seen in the Nongrah case also. In the Nongrah, the first case where the 4-year-old child was killed. There was a CCTV, but it was not working. And there are also cases where there are CCTVs, but not placed, not facing towards the road. And also there are also cases where you don't have CCTVs at all, so it becomes a big disadvantage for the police now. That if you have these things in place, it really is a deterrent for criminals. It also helps crime detection.
The crime in Nongrah, that is the 4-year-old and the 7-year-old murder case.
See, the 4-year-old, the case is still going, it's still progressing. With regard to the 4-year-old, the culprit has been ascertained, he's been apprehended. And in my last press briefing, I had mentioned that the child died out of drowning. And it would take us some time to ascertain whether the child died out, whether the drowning was accidental or homicidal. SIT, which has been formed, has established that the drowning was homicidal. So she was drowned deliberately by the accused, who is juvenile in conflict with law. He's still in juvenile home. Only thing is, the SIT is still yet to ascertain whether the drowning, the homicide, or the act was done in perpetuation of argument which happened over biscuits, which he has said, or whether it was an sexual assault attempt. There are many indications to the latter, for which we need to establish. So SIT will take some time to establish whether there was any sexual attempt. But one thing I can say, that the drowning was homicidal in nature.
So there's a lot of confusion surrounding this case, because there was speculation that there could be another person or persons involved in this case.
No. SIT has ruled out there's only one person. He's 13-year-old, and he's the only one who perpetrated this.
So how many years does the SIT get to investigate? 16 years.
See, there's no time frame, but from the time we arrest an accused, then we have a 90-day time frame for charge sheeting.
And regarding the murder case at Nongrah itself, the 7-year-old boy, so there were indications that the boy had several injury marks on his body. Is it true, sir?
See, there are injuries and all that. Some could be antemortem, some could be postmortem injuries and all that. Usually if the body is exposed for a long time, then you can have postmortem injuries, also means after death injuries from the various elements of nature. So we are waiting for the postmortem report to actually ascertain what type of injuries were antemortem, maybe if there are postmortem injuries also. So from the postmortem report, we will get a clearer picture of how he died.
So any suspect identified so far?
See, as of now, the spectrum of suspects is wide. As SIT progresses and all that, we will be able to narrow further. Since it is a child out here, and where the motive to kill a child is very difficult to establish. It either could be for ransom, which has not come about. It could be for sexual assault, for which the inquest has not indicated of any sexual assault, or we'll confirm that from the post-mortem. And if there's none of these motives, then we have to look for other motives. So it's very important to first establish what is the motive for killing the 7-year-old child.
So as a law of issue revolving around the mention of the...
See, we have seen so many cases, at least for about 2 decades we have seen. Most of these mentioners actually are not true actually. They all, because of enmity or jealousy and all mentioners. This apprehension has always been there since it's in the folklores of the community. Usually when we get to the truth, or we get to the people who are involved in it, it's not because of that they want to drain out blood from from a victim, it's usually vendetta, usually for ransom, it is usually for some reason. But I have never come across a case, at least in my service career, that person being drained out of blood because he's a Menchana. I rule out, in fact, we've had so many cases of Menchana, especially in the villages and all that. And when we actually investigated, the root cause is different on this.
Sir, regarding the Umpling case, the missing case that was reported yesterday, the girl was found yesterday itself, and in the wee hours of till Monday morning. Is the boy still in custody? Is he a boy or is he still a minor?
No, he's reached the age of majority. He is having a relationship with the girl. They've been having a relationship for more than 2 weeks. They've been in touch with each other. And yesterday at about 6:45, 6 side and all that, she had left home on her own and met with the boy. And the girl was in the boy's house. So here we've registered a case. A missing report was actually initially filed, and after we found the boy and we found he's in the age of majority and she's a minor, so we have taken a case of abduction and wrongful confinement. Right now he's being produced in court, and the girl has been medically examined and she's been handed over to her family.
So what is the severity of the punishment in case of the girl is a minor?
See, we have to first prove that an abduction and all that, it's below 7 years. Below 7 years, 3 years to 7 years and all that. Depending on the degree of abduction, if it's just abduction if it's for ransom, then it's more.
And so we see a lot of these cases coming about, like the missing cases, like the Umpling and the Molai case. What the police are actually looking for.
See, in fact, this over the years has been a very good thing, since our response mechanisms also is one as such whereby we had looked at CCTVs and all that. The BSF was very helpful in providing their CCTV. The CLG where we work with the donbosco, and I was personally in touch with the donbosco of Umpling and all that. And they were able to provide us the ground information and all that, information from family, for which we could actually know exactly what is the position of this case and how to respond and to act. So accordingly, different stakeholders had, different response teams had come, be it technology, be it patrolling, be it combing, be it Naka. Everything was actually put in place in a few minutes only. This whole response mechanism had actually panned out.
So
Hi. Kabui chinge hin pulit yi mahaba dan ka case ni Henry kan awan pa Jingshah pada ni hable hi wa ega Jingshah hi te babulsin hi badba hi te bun hi wo met kini ki khana e ba dan te ki bri wo mas ni wan te kan ko yong ni tam ta jab ki khana te Henry kari ka kamam chuni hi complaints will come to ma kari kamam chuni hi banwa Jingshah. Ia kata kawai ngalaban hal kata kaba kibrio kimde ban ai kinu ki khana ne ki juar ki bamde ki panong lamler Henry kat to kalai ki te ia kani ki dan kam pat smut ho ba kimna mshu ai ki re kapan klumar dia bara ai kapan klumar ki lang salang kapan klumar ki kamishno kapan klumar let tu cakapan concentrate kini ki case ki badi syabashat Pyniap ne syara borsisha itu pakai isu revert nak energy jungi kemudian itu kes kali kita maham kau buat kau tu ki pana nak yang bagi dia ki mentor hai ki tinggal kata jingas lock jingas jan what is happening in the lives.
Sir, kita sampai di Habis perlu full call belum kira trias kata itu Khynnah ni
di perlok tu Shillong.